I'm Shainul Kassam and I'm the founder of FORTUNELAW. FORTUNELAW is a commercial law firm. It's a boutique law firm. It's based in central London and our focus is on smart startups and founders and entrepreneurs. My first client was a lady called Kate Anquetil. And Kate Anquetil is the founder of and continues to run a company called GDR, Creative Intelligence. And I met her in my past life at the firm I used to work at before I started FORTUNELAW. And Kate phoned reception and said that she wanted to be represented by a female solicitor. And so they phoned me, and that's how I got to know her. And it was really interesting for me because I was very junior at that time. I wasn't even an associate. And here was a woman in a corporate finance world picking up the telephone and saying, I want to be represented by a woman. So it was very empowering for me. And I did a lot of research on her before I met her, because that's the one thing that I always used to do, and I still do, is try to find out as much as I can about my clients before I meet them, while I'm working with them, so that I can deliver the best service for them. So she was the first person who paid me, and it was a check at the time. She sent me a check, as I started the firm. And she was the first person who started me off. If time and money were no object, what we would be focusing on even more is internal education and lifelong education and the development and training of our team. In a practice such as law, what you learn on the job primarily, from your clients, from your peers, and from your supervisors. Life is moving so fast, and business is moving so fast, and technology is moving so fast, that those traditional concepts are finding it more difficult than ever, I think, to keep up. A lot of our clients now are in the tech industries. It's really important that we understand their language, because I don't think you can help somebody solve a problem as a founder unless you speak their language. I think it's time for me to go back to law school, something that we need to continue to do. And we need to, as lawyers, to learn and develop different skill sets. We are all going on coding courses. I am meeting with a professor at Westminster who deals with legal tech and AI. And that's something that's really not just interesting to me, but it's actually essential, I think, if we are going to be able to move with the times and be the modern law firm that I wanted to build. We need to keep investing in our people and in our training and our understanding of the world around us. The other aspect to that is conflict resolution. And I believe that you can't be a good commercial solicitor if you don't understand how to deal with conflict resolution, because we specialise in assisting founders, understanding that the fact that they're wearing so many different hats, and sometimes, and more often than not, actually dialogue, communication and conflict, are all part and parcel of the problems we're helping to solve and the risks we're trying to mitigate and the positions we're trying to help them leverage. So another aspect of training is not just the coding side that I spoke about, but also the training of each member of staff in conflict resolution and the ability to understand how to handle those situations, because that's what we do. We're trying to manage risk. There's so many things I'm working on. I mean, as founders, we wear 100 hats. And my to-do list, I typed it up a couple of weekends ago. I had 6 pages of typed to-do, and it's not finished yet. So there's just so much going on. There's so much to be excited about as well. But the thing that is probably at the forefront of my mind is recruitment. Our clients are growing and scaling, and we want to and need to grow and scale with them. Picking the right people, hiring the right team, is really critical, because you can only do great things based on the people you work for and the people you work with. And we're a boutique law firm, so what that means is not just boutique in the sense that we have a clear handle and grasp on the complexity of the work that we do, because we are specialist, but also boutique in relationships, in making sure that the feeling that people have, that when they come to us and the service that they feel actually is boutique in itself. And that means each member of the team building deep relationships with the clients that we represent. And so it's really important to get the right people to be able to create that kind of firm. That's the firm I want to build. So I went to sleep this morning at 6:30 a.m. and I was awake, if I ever actually did go to sleep, at 7:25. So I have had less than 1 hour sleep today, but that is because we had significant deadlines come in on some really important, very exciting work, and I really wanted to get my teeth into that. Secondly, I'm working on all manner of sort of marketing ideas for the firm, including, you know, our series on Drive. And thirdly, because I'm traveling tomorrow, I'm going on holiday, so it's always a bit crazy just before I go away. It's crazy when I'm gone, and it's crazy when I get back. I sleep little. Every 3 or 4 months, I think, I need just one good night's sleep. I know when it's coming. Last week I needed it. There was a feeling of, if you just brought me a pillow to my desk, I would just fall asleep right there. But I'm a corporate finance lawyer, and I trained in a firm where I worked 18 hours a day, and I slept in the office, and I worked 9 months without a day off, including weekends during the dot-com boom. That tells you just how old I am. So that was routine to me, and I think it stood me in really good stead, because I'm able to run my own business, and I'm able to raise my small young family as well at the same time. I get enough sleep, I know how to reset, and not a lot keeps me up at night. And sometimes I do get to a position where the adrenaline is up here. And when that happens, I run. That's the thing I do to clear my mind. And that is how I manage sleep deficit. Every now and again, one good night's sleep, and you're good to go. Most people will probably tell you, you know, you sacrifice sleep, you sacrifice the ability to just switch off. I don't switch off. I don't know how to switch off. I don't know how to sit still. I think I've always been like that, this level of restlessness inside of me. There's something inside, this desire to keep moving, to keep doing, to keep achieving, to keep getting somewhere. I remember my old boss used to say to me, you know, Shainul, you need a hobby, because I was just so obsessed with work all the time and never wanting to say no to anything, and always wanting to fix every problem and find every solution. And even now, if there's something there that I don't understand or doesn't ring true for me, I can't leave it alone. I have to find out. I love what I do. I just love it. I'm so lucky every day to be able to do what I love. So is there a sacrifice? There are trade-offs. I think there are trade-offs. So you don't sleep. Do I mind it? No. You don't get enough downtime. So I don't go on holiday and just stay by a beach. I'm doing stuff, seeing people, meeting people. Because when I travel, I like to meet people. I like to understand how the world works in different places, especially in my own industry. So I didn't set out to be a founder or an entrepreneur. I set out to be a lawyer. That is what I wanted to do and be since I was 14 years old. I was going to just get to the top of my game. That was what it was all about. I was going to get my grades, and I was going to go to law school, and I was going to work in the city, and I was going to be a corporate finance lawyer, and then I was going to become an associate, and then I was going to become a partner, and that is what I was going to do, and that is what I had set my heart on. And then what happened was I hit the system, and the system was traditional, and the system said, you can't move as fast as you would like. The system said, you've got to move at the pace we set. I found that really frustrating, because I worked really, really hard. I said I worked 18 hours a day, and I slept in the office, and I did all of those things, and I thought, wow, my hard work is going to speak for itself. And it didn't. And there were these unwritten rules that I didn't understand. You couldn't progress, and it wasn't meritocratic, and you weren't going to be judged on the quality of your work and how you did it. You were just not able to slot into the available places unless somebody said you could. In law, it's so traditional. And I was watching people around me, people who I was hoping would become my clients one day, and they were young, and they were starting businesses, and they were joining family businesses, and there was no barriers to entry in terms of age. And actually, a lot of my friends, my peers, were going into the city to become professionals, and then they were going back into their family businesses because they wanted to prove themselves. They wanted to demonstrate they could do it on their own terms, but the intention was always to go back and run their own businesses. And I was stuck, and I was female, and I was young, and being young and being female, you weren't ever really going to be able to move fast as you wanted to. I was not able to wait. I was impatient. And I thought there had to be a better way, because I hit so many roadblocks as I was going along. Because I hit gender discrimination, because I didn't receive equal pay, because I wasn't able to be on the marketing committees, because of so many things that people said no to me for. I just said, well, do you know what? I'm not interested in giving up the rest of my life, because there is not enough life to be patient for. There is not enough life for anybody that you should be afraid. I quit, and I was age 29, which isn't, it's not that young when you look at entrepreneurs around me, and even then in those days, but it is young for law. I thought, well, I'm going to do law, that's all I'm good for, and this is what I know, this is my game, this is what I've loved, and I've always loved it, and I'm going to do it on my own terms. So I decided to start my own firm. So I started 29, 3.5 years qualified. You can't start a law firm in this country unless you're 3 years qualified. So I just made that, and without a single client, I started the firm. And yes, some people said it was crazy, not to my face, but starting a corporate finance practice in the City of London, being female, being 29, without a single client, is probably pretty crazy. And it was reported at the time that I was the youngest female to start a law firm in this country. So I didn't know it at the time. I wasn't planning to break any records. I just wanted to do what I wanted to do, and I wanted to be appreciated for the work that I did on my own terms. I failed. You know, it's really interesting. You always think about the things that haunt you, don't they? It's things that happen in the past. So I failed my driving test the first time round. I was trying to reverse park on a upwards slope, and that was fun. I got a B in my maths GCSE. But in terms of other failings, I think being a lawyer and being an entrepreneur is really hard. As a lawyer, you're taught to mitigate risk. If you're constantly seeking risk in order to mitigate it, it's really hard to be that level of fearless in sort of entrepreneurial activity. That's difficult. Is that a failing? I think it's a restriction. It's something I'm aware of every single day, making sure that I don't feel restrained in my founder journey by my own profession. It's a difficult one for me to balance. I think that's one of the things I really struggle with, and I think that it's one of those things in life that you doubt yourself about more than is actually reality. I am completely and utterly self-motivated and driven, so I don't even think about it. I find it hard, I think, to understand how to take what I have inside of me and try and bring it out in others. Now, I say that because you struggle when you are so consumed by something. Sometimes you don't understand why other people could not be consumed by the same thing. And I've learned over time that whatever's going on in here, whatever that vision is, whatever that looks like, needs to come out. And so other people can see it and feel it and touch it. And then they can engage with it. And if that resonates with them, then you've got an incredible team. I think people engaging in what you're engaged with, and people understanding that vision, and people wanting to solve the same problems as you, that's what teamwork's all about. I love people. I learn something from every single person I meet. It doesn't matter who it is, it doesn't matter where it is during the course of my day. From every interaction you learn something. And so that's where I get all my energy from, is people. And then I've learned from people who are wiser than me. And I've learned from people who are more experienced than me. I learned from my first boss, courage, sort of feel, I can't do that. And then you just tell yourself, don't listen to you, don't listen to you. Fear is a liar, just get on with it. So you can exercise that muscle of courage. And I remember watching him and him being fearless and understanding the importance of being fearless. I've learned that friendship comes in so many different forms, and people can be adventurers and will take you on joyous life trips, and I mean that intellectually and mentally. And there are people who are mentors, and there are people who will raise your game, and there are people who will be desperately honest with you, and will do that because they're your cheerleaders and they want you to grow. So I think that if you are open to people, your whole life will change. I believe that fortuitous things can happen to you if you create an opportunity for those good things to come. So I believe that if you open yourself up to people, then incredible things can happen in your life. But that's you opening a door. And if that door is not opened by you, then a whole new world that could exist doesn't exist. I believe that you make your own luck. And I believe that if you're driven, you don't leave things to chance. So I was recommended a book, and it's called Setting the Table by Danny Meyer. He's a restaurateur. It was recommended to me by a friend who's a chef. I think it's really important to read outside of your industry. I have lots of clients who are in the hospitality industry, pubs, bars, restaurants, nightclubs, hotels, and I like to eat out. That's one of my favourite things, and I live in London, and so of course I'm exceptionally lucky to be able to go to so many different places. And what I love about those experiences is how people make you feel, whether you're in a hotel or you are in a bar or you are in a restaurant. When the service is great, you feel great. And I think that I'm running a boutique law firm, and that boutique law firm experience should be all about that too. You know, people should feel that experience. They should feel safe, they should feel protected, they should feel that you will be able to get them from A to B. They should feel that you will be able to defend them, fight for their corner and negotiate and maximize their leverage. They should feel those things, and everything, I think, goes down to how people feel. And I think the hospitality industry, when it's done really well, is something that we can all learn from. The answer is yes. Drive is this relentless thing inside of you that is unstoppable to a degree and makes you so focused on what you're doing. When you're in that place, it doesn't always feel happy. A lot of people would think that you couldn't be happy. And there are times when I've thought, well, do you know what, do I just jack it all in and go and get a job? Now, I have not thought that for about 12 years. In the early days, it was really, really, really hard. My growth sort of curve was vertical because everything was new. Incredibly terrible things all happened at once, and you just thought your day could not get any worse. And I would have thought, and I did think at that time, should I just go back and work for someone else? And the minute the thought came into my mind, I just smacked it straight away and said, you know you can never do that. And you know you'll never be happy. So I don't even think about a different world. And I think that if I couldn't do what I did, I would be miserable. If I didn't have the freedom that what I do gives me, I'd be deeply unhappy. So it doesn't always feel shiny, happy every day. But when I walk home at the end of a day, I always think about what I achieved that day and what I gave up for that day. And I always tell my team that, you know, you give up a day of your life to be here. So you've got to make sure it's a really good day. And I feel that every day when I go home. I've had a really, really good day. No. I know two jokes, okay? One is about a centipede putting its shoes on, and one is about Celine Dion, and I'm not telling you either one of them. But I'm the middle child. I'm one of 3 girls, and I have never learned to accept the status quo. I have always asked what if and why can't I? And so I think that being a rebel is probably ingrained in every atom of my being. I wish I could make you change that statement. Because that statement, I wish, sounds like regret. It sounds like, I wish I had done this, or I wish that had happened. And I don't have regrets in life. I think that you make the decisions you make at the time based on the information you had at the time. And you make that decision, and you know, that's the right decision. And if you then know better, much later on, or later on, then you will do better. So I wish is difficult because it feels like regret. And if I wish is a dream and it's forward-looking rather than backward-looking, then that means it's out of my control. And I don't like that either. Dushanbe, and it's going to be the best thing ever.